Right, so we've covered quite a lot so far. We've looked at what good posture is, what impacts it, and we've talked about how when your posture goes out of balance, it leads to excess stresses and strains through the body, which eventually can lead to some kind of condition and thus chronic pain. Or it could lead to some kind of imbalances which change the way you look and you're not happy about that. The next step, probably the most important step, is we need to discuss how do we improve your posture. And before I tell you that, there are a few methods that I want to tell you about that I don't think will work. And I want to tell you about them so that you don't get sidetracked and do something that's not going to give you the result that you want. The first method that's not going to work in the long term is you trying to just only consciously improve your posture. Again, most people, they try and pull their shoulders back, sit up straight, pull their tummy and pull their head back, whether they're standing or sitting, etc. Again, it never works long term, right? You know this because you'll get distracted and then after a few minutes or a few seconds even, you go back into your normal poor posture. And also, as you know by now, there's too many things to consider because posture is about the balance of your entire body. And also for many people, it can be painful or tiring trying to sit up or hold themselves up, right? And also remember that good posture, again, is not, as we've discussed, is not about sitting or standing up straight rigidly. It's about how you walk, how you play a sport, how you move. It's about your body being in balance. So again, we can't consciously do that. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't have a general awareness of how you're sitting, how you're moving. So for example, if you work in the office several hours a day, if you're sitting like this behind a desk every day, that's not going to be good. And it's good for you to be aware, okay, I should sit up a little bit straighter. I should get up every half an hour and move around. That's essential. But again, it's not the long-term solution and it's not going to get you to the goals you want. The second method that's not going to work long-term are all these crazy gizmos out there which try to artificially hold you in a better place. Whether that's things like posture vests or braces or straps or orthotics or any other kind of crazy gizmo. Think about it. What are these things trying to do? They're trying to artificially do the job that your muscles should be doing. So if you wear a posture vest, what's going to happen? Or a brace, what's going to happen? Those muscles that should be doing that job, they're going to get even weaker because now the strap or the vest or the brace is doing that work. So in the long term, you're going to get worse. The same with orthotics. Orthotics, they're just trying to artificially change the position of your foot or your knee and your hip and cause a change there. Now, I'm not advising you right now to take your orthotics or braces off or anything like that. Again, always consult your doctor, seek medical advice. But in my experience of working with clients, once we're improving their posture, eventually they'll get to a point where they don't need it and they'll take it away and they'll actually feel better. So as your posture improves and as your doctor says so, it says it's okay, slowly start to phase those things out because in my experience, they'll make things worse in the long term. The third method I would avoid if I were you to improve your posture is something I hear all the time, which is that you should strengthen your core. I have so many clients who come to me, either they just want to improve their posture because of the way they look or they're in some kind of pain, usually back pain or hip pain, and they've seen some therapist, it hasn't worked, but the therapist has told them you need to strengthen your core. This winds me up and I think it's absolutely ridiculous and I can't believe so many people advise it. Let's look at why. If someone told him to strengthen his core, would that be a good idea? Absolutely not. All you're going to do is lock in these imbalances, this hip being higher than the other, this hip being forward. So before we strengthen his core, we need to get him straight. And again, just by getting straight, you're going to be stronger. So again, nothing per se wrong with strengthening your core, but just make sure that you're straight first. And don't think that by strengthening your core, you're going to automatically improve your posture or take care of your pain. Because I see clients day in, day out who it hasn't worked for. The final kind of main method that I see people use to try and improve their posture or deal with some kind of pain is to use some kind of manual therapy. Now, manual therapy just means that the therapist uses their hands to try and create a change in your body, whether that's someone like an osteopath or a chiropractor or massage therapist, etc. Now, I have a lot of respect for manual therapists. I know they help a lot of people, and I trained as an osteopath for 3 years. But in my experience, the work that they do tends to be to try and deal with some kind of symptom rather than the underlying root cause in many cases. And even if they're trying to deal with the underlying root cause, which I believe most often is that your posture is out of balance, the results in my experience tend to be quite temporary unless those changes are reinforced with some kind of exercise program. So if it's not consciously trying to improve your posture, if it's not using some kind of crazy gizmo, if it's not strengthening your core, trust me on that one, And if it's not using some kind of manual therapy, then what's the solution? How are we going to create a long-term change in your posture? Well, you should know the answer by now already. As I've told you so many times by now, good posture is about having your body in balance, because the muscles are in balance from the left to the right and the front to the back. So what do we need to do? We need to get those muscles back in balance. And how do you get a muscle back into balance? How do you train a muscle? You have to give it some work. You have to give it some exercise. So the way that we're going to improve your posture, the most effective way that I know how, is to give your body some special posture correction exercises which remind the muscles of what to do and get them back into balance.